We have a mega guest from a mega team.
We're not here to just build another L2 or another L1.
What does MegaETH, the mega, stand for? I heard it was make Ethereum great again.
I mean, I think we will make Ethereum great again. The title was MegaETH, the road to 1 million TPS. But this Chinese team, such a scam, right? What are you saying? Obviously it's a scam. I don't think any L1 will ever be as performant as MegaETH. 100 times beefier than Solana node, right?
And also, how do you find the competitive teams?
I sit them down like this and I force them to listen to me for an hour.
Gaslight them.
I just gaslight them, yeah.
They're just sick of you.
You're gonna be an Omega.
Fine, I'll be an Omega.
The answer is do you have the dog in you? That's the biggest green flag. You have a chip on your shoulder. You know, no matter what happens, you'll never be enough, right? You're not in it for the money. You're in it to win.
What do you think is the key factor for the new chain or ecosystem to succeed in?
Those are every single app would break would break any other chain. Literally, they would straight up break any other chain.
Or I think the sentiment around Ethereum is quite bottom low, I guess.
Yeah,
the market. Yeah.
Every day on Twitter, I go and I'm just Jesus. I really think we're running out of time as an industry.
If you have a superpower and can build anything on MegaETH, what would it be?
Okay, so
Welcome back to PFP. Today we have a mega guest from a mega team. Who are you?
Hey guys, thanks for having me. My name is Namik, part of the founding team here at MegaETH.
Welcome to Korea.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, this is actually, I've been to Seoul a few times in the past 12 months. And each time I'm just so happy to be here. Really, really like the city.
Well, it's the best time to be here because the weather's very nice.
It's pretty hot. I actually like the winter. So, but
this
fair
is
enough.
hot for you?
Yeah,
it was crazy a few weeks ago.
A few weeks ago? Okay.
It was crazy.
I was here during Biddle Asia or whatever that event
Biddle
was.
Asia, hosted by Erica.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
And the weather was pretty nice. It was a bit cool. You could wear a sweater or a jacket.
Yeah. Were you here 2 years ago during KBW when it flooded?
No.
You weren't.
I was at Token 2049 in Dubai when it flooded. And that was very biblical.
Yeah.
That was a few months ago. And that was crazy because the UAE does not flood.
I know.
And it was up to my knees.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah. Crazy.
So, what brings you here?
So, my background is I'm Turkish, Azerbaijani. So, crypto is really big in Turkey, right? And I think in a similar manner, crypto is really big in Seoul. And I've always been fascinated with the market. I think there's a super unique opportunity, in particular with the performance guarantees of MegaETH, to be able to have seamless on-chain experiences. So I am in some ways just in Seoul chilling, meeting people, having a good time. But the actual bigger thesis is I'm trying to find young builders.
Young
right?
builders.
I was just with the Blockchain Valley from Korean University.
Oh, yeah.
And we were just spending Monday night hanging out, 40-minute drive outside of Seoul.
Oh, nice.
Hanging out and just talking about MegaETH, all the kind of cool applications that can be built. So that's I think the North Star of what I'm trying to do in Seoul this week, but also just talking to a variety of builders and just cool stakeholders. We have been relatively low-key until recently. I think the best way to think of MegaETH is that we've built the first real-time blockchain by settling on Ethereum. I want to give you guys a quick rundown on how we see the landscape and how we were able to come to the conclusions we did. I think that our team fundamentally does believe in the idea of the blockchain trilemma, right? And then you just have to end up optimizing. So Ethereum optimized to be the most decentralized Turing complete layer 1. Settlement layer, that's really great. We really love it. And that's why it's so popular, right? But at the same time, I think we need to be honest and accept that the market wanted more performant block space. And that's how we saw Solana become larger and become successful. And what they did is they said, you know what, we're going to have beefier nodes and we're going to be able to be more performant and do all these cool optimizations. And our thesis is that Moore's law will kick in, hardware will become cheaper, so it'll be easier to decentralize over time. Fundamentally, that's how we see the layer 1 landscape. But over the past few years, there has been some really interesting innovations, right? We saw a lot of very smart people with like great PhDs and everything build in the design space of fraud proofs, right? And the power of like the security framework associated with Ethereum layer 2s. And what does that really mean? It means that you have these proofs that are able to verify that a sequencer is doing what it's supposed to do, that's being honest. And the second pretty strong unlock was, the forced inclusion, which basically means that even if the sequencer is being malicious, I can take my ETH on the layer 2 and bring it back to layer 1 safely. Nothing will happen. So our team basically said, hey, let's look at these new pieces of information and try and build the most performant possible execution environment, right? So what we did is we went back to the drawing board and we looked at like, what are the tasks associated with a blockchain? There's 4. There's validation, there's finalization, there's dissemination, and there's sequencing/execution. Traditional blockchain architectures are homogeneous, meaning that one node will be doing all of the transactions, all of the functions of a blockchain, right? And that's not ideal. And that's where you see this trade-off really manifest, right? Like Ethereum as a blockchain really optimized for validation, which is horrible for sequencing and execution. That's why it's not very performant. While Solana optimized for sequencing and execution, which is why it's harder to have like a very decentralized validator set, right? However, when you look at the security guarantees of a layer 2 on Ethereum and that security framework, we said, what if we were to specialize the nodes? What if we were to build a particular node and configure the hardware and software configurations of that node to that particular task? So, and that's exactly what we did. And we took that to the extreme. So Vitalik actually wrote about this in his 2021 Endgame article, where he described a specialization type of architecture where you had relatively centralized block production and maximally decentralized block validation. We took that to its natural conclusion and we did maximally centralized block production and maximally decentralized block validation. So what we do is we have one node that does sequencing, because when you look at the ideal configuration for sequencing, you actually realize that you don't want to have consensus in sequencing because that makes it slow. So we have a really, really beefy sequencer, right? It's like a meme how beefy this is. Like 100 times beefier than a Solana sequencer, right? Pardon me, a Solana node, right? Really exciting. But our validator architecture is really light because we effectively have a different kind of node for our prover nodes. And they do a subset of the sequencer's transactions. So what we do is we basically do optimizations throughout the entire stack, throughout every single different piece of our architecture. So our sequencer is very beefy. It has JIT compiling, in-memory computing, and parallelization, while our prover node architecture leverages a technique called stateless verification, where we effectively are able to have each node do a subset of the sequencer's transactions. We go ahead, we use EigenDA, and we work very closely with Eigen, and we basically have rewritten the state trie. We've done a bunch of really cool things. Team is cracked. Elong studied low latency computation at Stanford for his PhD, while Lei studied high throughput networking for his PhD at MIT. Wow. He's actually, for the people who are in the know, he's very well known in like the crypto academia, as well as just general academia. He co-wrote the famous data availability paper with Shuyao from Eigenlayer. Shuyao, led global business development and consensus for 6 years. MetaMask, Linea, Truffle, and Fura. Myself, I'm like the local degen, I'd say. Used to be an investor in the venture side. He was a prop trader in New York, managing my own book, so liquids as well as primaries. And I was an operator at Consensus as well, doing strategy and BD. So we have like the engineering chops, and we have a bit of the operating expertise to kind of really know what it means to build an ecosystem. And we are taking a very targeted approach towards the ecosystem because 100 KTPS and 1 millisecond block times, that's going to be what brings real users on chain.
Yeah.
So we're very excited.
Yeah. Thank you for introduction. And I think there are pretty much a lot of information in your answer. And I want to, tackle some of the issues one by one. And also, I think the technical advancement of the MegaETH is very, superior than other solutions or blockchains. But let's start with how you joined the MegaETH, because I think the co-founder of MegaETH are pretty popular for their, I don't know, academic career or academic career and also their ability. And I think you are, I don't know, a little bit quite different from the characters of the co-founder. And
Fair enough.
What do you mean?
Savage.
What do you mean?
Are you saying he
Feel it
doesn't
there.
have the
What do you mean?
academic-
have
all right,
the
just cut it out. I know, I was
No, that's good.
I don't. Yeah, sorry. I'm
Dude, I
sorry.
can't code. I can't code, my guy. I feel it.
I don't think it is bad, but yeah, I just wonder what was the
The story, sure.
Yeah.
How did I get myself in this situation?
No, I'm not saying that how did you get in, but what brings you the motivation to this is gonna
Sure.
work or something.
Yeah, so I guess a bit of of background in my life. So as I mentioned, I'm Turkish or Azerbaijani, right? So Turkish Cyprus is actually a small island, not recognized by anywhere in the world except for Turkey. And Azerbaijan is like a country that is like very, very deeply reliant on oil. So when I was like 15, I saw like a double currency devaluation. So basically, the Azerbaijani manat devalued like 80% in the span of a few months, and all of my friends left. Their parents got fired. They left the country. All of that, and I very succinctly understood like just how important it is to be able to not be completely at the mercy of third parties, right? Like trustless architectures. It was very big into privacy. Back in 2019, I was working on a single sign-on, like SSO. Google login, Facebook login, but fully anonymous while proving for humanity, right? The purpose of this was to battle something called CIB, Coordinated Inauthentic Behavior. It's when one person is able to have like 1,000 accounts that can push a certain narrative and make real people believe that that's 1,000 people who feel this way. We were able to actually get some pretty decent PMF, right, on the institutional side for a nonprofit, but users did not care at all about their data. And I was trying to figure out why. So I was able to get in touch with the office of someone called Tim Berners-Lee, who was actually one of the founders of the web protocol, right? And I was talking to his office. He was definitely too important to talk to me. And they told me his biggest regret was the fact that he didn't create a money layer native to the internet, right? And at this point, I was working with Dabing, Shreya. And she was in crypto, and we were chatting, and she was like, you should get in, you should check this crypto stuff out. So in 2020, I got into crypto, started doing a lot of like DeFi stuff, NFT stuff, even a lot of DAO stuff, right? Because I was like, DAOs can be the future. Anyone, anywhere can participate. And you can see a true equalization in like an idealistic world. Very quickly realized all the infrastructure is super centralized, broken, janky, doesn't work. So that's why I joined the venture side. So I joined the fund called Hypersphere, and I was investing in infrastructure, primarily with the modular blockchain pieces, which is quite ironic because MegaETH is innately modular as well, right? And really understanding how this works, invested heavily in the cross-chain ecosystem as well. And it was lots of fun. But eventually, graduated college, and I was working throughout all of college, and joined Consensus where I was working with Shreya. And we were doing a lot of stuff together, just hanging out, understanding the space, working on different initiatives for Consensus. And one day she basically reached out to me and she's like, hey, this MegaETH thing is really cool. Like, you should check it out. Like, I'm going to join as a co-founder. Are you in? And I read about it, and I read the white paper, and it was dense. It took me many multiple reads. But eventually it clicked. I'm like, okay, this is actually inevitable. It's game theory optimal, right? And it worked with a lot of my theses around what should we hyper optimize for in the settlement layer. And it also validated my frustrations with the layer 2 landscape as it is today, right? Which is really trying to replicate a layer 1. Yeah. Everyone keeps asking me like, don't you want to decentralize the sequencer? Blah, blah, blah. Why? That's literally like, I'm going to rebuild the L1. Like, you don't need to decentralize a sequencer to be able to leverage Ethereum's like layer 2 security framework, right? So yeah, I read about it and I'm like, okay, this makes total sense. And I joined in, late January as part of the founding team. So Shreya and I really came on board to like help productize and like put a bit of a strategy and like ecosystem development spin to all of it.
Yeah. Thank you for your answer. And in your answer that you said that this, when you read the white paper of the MegaETH, then you think that this is inevitable or game theory optimal. Can you describe more about the rationale behind the inevitableness?
Sure. So I think for me, I've always been quite disappointed, I'd say, with the kind of applications that we've been able to build as an industry. I think everyone came into crypto because they had a dream for like some wacky idea. I remember mine. Mine was silly. It was legal agreements on chain, which I know there's a lot of reasons why that doesn't work. Oracle problem this, but everyone had like these dreams, right? Like, cacao supply chain on chain, right? Doesn't work because the ledger, blah, blah, blah. Happy to talk about it, but it's that dream. But then what happens is you realize like the blockchain is like pretty garbage. Like it's not really performant. And yes, like Solana is like pretty great and like Solana is like relatively performant. But when you look at the level of compute that happens off chain and you look at the fact that like every single year, even though costs go down, our expectations go up, right? So things actually still get more computationally heavy. It became very clear to me that layer ones just cannot scale, right? And it's unfortunate, but it's true. And the trick is it's because of consensus, right? Like you cannot get the amount of performance, like decentralization performance don't fundamentally go hand in hand. And there, however, with layer twos, the decentralization, you cannot be fully decentralized, but you can still be censorship resistant. And that's the power. And no one really exploited that to its reasonable and maximal conclusion. And that's what MegaETH does, right? We fully centralize block production. Like that's crazy, right? We can only do that because we settle on ETH. But that allows us to like basically stream transactions at lightning speed. And it lets us access a level of performance, which is not possible anywhere else. And for me, that was just like so obvious the second I read it, that everyone's going to, like this is going to be the winning play. Because like this is how users are able to actually have a great experience and how builders are able to build net new applications. Like we have this idea within MegaETH, which is like our mega mafia, right? Like they're our builders, like they're like, you know, our cabal almost, right? All very cracked, very smart. And they're all building applications which would break any other chain, right? They're only possible on MegaETH. Omega. That's like the little silly meme. It's very cringe. I think Omega is very cringe, but like we're just gonna go with it, like whatever.
I think I don't want to go too much technical in this episode, but just a few questions. But then as I understand that the main value proposition of MegaETH is that they can obtain the high level of scalability because of their centralized sequencers.
Yes.
And it is also achieved without this sacrificing their decentralization or other censorship resistance feature of the blockchain. Can you describe more about how the centralized sequencer do not violate the censorship resistance and also security of the blockchain? Exactly.
So it's kind of what we were describing in the very beginning as like the net new information which our team was able to like make this design off of. So basically, you have proofs which have come out over the past few years, which is able to verify that the sequencer is acting in order, right? The main issue right now of the proof landscape is that optimistic proofs, which are like the cheapest, take way too long to settle, right? So like it's 7 days, it sucks. It's like one of the trade-offs of the MegaETH architecture. Now, we are really close with like all of the ZK guys, right? We're talking to them in detail, and when the time comes, we'll be migrating very quickly. It's just really a function of like cost. So that's the first aspect. And the second is this forced inclusion mechanism, right? Which basically says, if the sequencer is being malicious, your ETH is fully safe and it can go back to the L1. So these are the ways that you're able to inherit your censorship resistance of Ethereum, right? And I think that's how we're able to create like a centralized sequencer. That is very performant. And I would say our edge is node specialization. It's the ability to have like maximally centralized block production while having maximally decentralized block validation.
I get it. Yeah, thank you, bro.
You said about Omega. Are they the
Omega.
builders on MegaETH?
Yeah.
Do you call the builders Omega?
So the program is called the Mega Mafia. So the thesis is like, okay, you need to be building something that will actually get users, right? So it's not like some kind of like, oh, cool, we're doing some kind of interesting like infra play that no one cares about except like a bunch of academics. Like build apps that like will leverage the power of like crypto economics, peer-to-peer networks to like bring net new users in, right? And it has to be really consumer centric. Like think about users.
It has to be tangible.
It has to be tangible. Yeah. So that's the first criteria. The second is like it needs to be able to leverage a high performance chain, right? So MegaETH with 1 millisecond block times, and I think like I cannot understate how insane that is, right? It's like literally just opens like an entire new design space for applications, right? So it needs to use a high-perf chain. And the third, like they have to have dog in them, right? They just have to be really fucking hungry. Apologies for cursing. Really sharp, and they really just want to win. So these are the three things that we quantify to join the Mega Mafia. And we have around 10 teams at the moment. They're all like A tier. They've all raised like venture funding from like tier 1 investors, tier 1 VCs, tier 1 angels. Most of them, I don't think any of them have even announced. But they're really, really cracked. And they're building in DeFi, they're building in DePIN and consumer. And they're all applications which break any other chain. And I can walk you guys through that if you're interested.
Yeah, tell us more about it.
Sure. So let's start with DeFi because I think everyone loves DeFi except for the Ethereum Foundation. I actually don't like DeFi that much either, to be completely honest. My thesis for DeFi is I think that every sophisticated player that you want to use DeFi already knows about DeFi.
Yeah.
Right? And the average person who's walking down the street in Seoul, in New York, in Istanbul, they don't care about trading as much as they care about like their emotional relationships. So we need to be able to leverage the power of like peer-to-peer networks to tap into other experiences. But anyways, DeFi. So we have like 3-4 really interesting teams in this design space. The first is a project called GTE. GTE is a AMM plus club. It's able to leverage the fact that there's basically no jitter on an execution environment like MegaETH, 100K TPS, 1 millisecond block times to create like a hyper-efficient club, right? The team is ex-Jump, ex-Coinbase, ex-IMC, Alchemy. So really, really sharp. They know what they need to do. They're building out like the indexers and all of that to create like the first really high-perf DEX that can basically bring price discovery on-chain, right? Which is, I think, the holy grail. Once we're no longer beholden to centralized exchanges, I think that the user space, the ecosystem will flourish. And then we can talk about like why that's the case. But I think it's really exciting to me. We have like a lending market of no liquidation margins, right? So like what's the issue of lending? Either the user gets screwed by like an unfair liquidation margin of like 6%, or the protocol gets screwed because of bad debt. But when you have 1 millisecond block times, as well as like a price oracle that's co-located with our sequencer, which means like 1 millisecond price feeds, like that just no longer is an issue, which is like really exciting. We have information markets which are being built on MegaETH, which allows for price discovery of assets which are just not tradable. Imagine CPI, right? Imagine a continuous market on the CPI rate, and then use that as a financial tool for like sophisticated players like hedge funds to build like interesting models, like actually net new applications. We have a SEX-DEX powered stablecoin like product that's leveraging Eigen AVS for security with an operator model. That's like the DeFi teams. We're still looking for a couple more, but I think those are like, we're pretty happy. I think on the DePIN side, I'm really excited. Like one of my favorite projects is like a decentralized VPN network. And it's fascinating because like, this is like one of those examples of a use case which crypto solves this. But because the blockchain is inefficient, no one's been able to do it. So quick rundown, right? Like, funnily enough, like vast majority of the VPNs that you know are controlled by one company, right? And they're called Cape. And they have all of these scandals of them like having hacks or like selling user data and just a bunch of heinous behavior, which you don't want. And why do people use VPNs? They use it because A, they want to change their location, right? B, they want to do that anonymously. And C, they want to do it fast. They don't want to have to wait. So centralized VPNs can give you two of those things, right? So They'll change your location and they'll do it fast, but it's not anonymous. They know all your information. The issue is that they are playing a cat and mouse game with operators that want to know if you're using a VPN or not, like these lists. So when they find out it's a VPN server, they shut you down. In an ideal world, anyone could run like a node at home that will allow them to allow like a person to use their address or their internet as a node for the VPN, right? But the issue here is the fact that like every time you're trying to connect and establish a connection to one of those different nodes with a decentralized solution, that's going to deal with the innate latency with a chain. So if your chain has like a few seconds, you're now looking at 80 milliseconds for the Web 2 solution, a few seconds at minimum for the Web 3 solution, and that's just too much. People don't want to make that sacrifice. But with MegaETH, with our 1 millisecond block times, you're able to have that level of performance with the powers of like the security guarantees and the privacy guarantees. So we're just excited directionally. Like I think there's an entire new unlock for Deepin. There's also lots of cool stuff happening in gaming. So I think after Axie Infinity was like big success, like crypto VC put billions of dollars into gaming, and now we're like, where the hell is any of that?
Yeah.
I think the main issue is again like block times, right?
Right.
Like every blockchain's just been too slow. And like you've had products like Redstone come to market, and you've had like phenomenal games like Biomes, which is like a fully on-chain Minecraft that we're very close with. Like we work very closely with them. You'll learn more about that partnership soon. And you can go onto Biomes on Redstone, and like it's a fully on-chain Minecraft, but there's no WASD functionality, right? By WASD, I mean like move your character in real time, because for you to move your character in real time, you need that to be updated to the blockchain in real time, but like it's too slow.
So every move is a transaction.
It should be in an ideal world, but it can't be that data
slow.
can't be put on chain because it's slow. So what their solution is, they have like a third-party angel figure, and you move your character from like, block, like Minecraft block, this one, to Minecraft block over there, right? Camera can see my hands. And that is done on chain because you're able to move in them to corresponding blocks, but it's a horrible UX. And like we're never going to be able to compete with like Web 2 gaming until we're able to reach feature parity. So yeah, we have like phenomenal teams like the founders and the team behind On Cyber, which is like a massive hit last cycle. It was if you guys remember On Cyber, it was the metaverse galleries. So they're building an autonomous world engine on MegaETH. So imagine like Roblox, imagine Fortnite, imagine anybody being able to build their own game and be able to see the economics of that with no performance degradation. It's fascinating design space. And yeah, I mean, I guess like what I'm just excited about are like these builders. Like they're all cracked, they're all excited, and everyone's just building something that's Omega.
I think
Cringe, yeah.
How did you recruit all these great builders? How did you find them, and how did you convince them to build on top of your?
what is your one-liner for convincing the
I don't
builders?
do one-liners. I sit them down like this and I force them to listen to me for an hour.
Gaslight them.
I just gaslight them.
They're
Yeah.
like just sick of you talking.
like,
You're gonna be on
God
Omega.
damn it, if you insist.
Fine, I'll be an Omega.
Yeah. They'll build. But I mean, I don't know. I think I've been very fortunate to like be surrounded by like lots of smart people that I've been able to just ask and convince to like do this. I don't know. Maybe it's just all scammy energy. I don't know. Like I don't know.
Just
I hope
vibe.
I think it's vibes.
Yeah.
I think vibes based eco.
Yeah. What would you say the red flag is when you talk to a builder?
Oh.
I think the biggest red flag for me is like time horizons. I think a lot of people in crypto can make like a decent amount of money in the short term and just like retire.
Yeah.
And like their incentives are just skewed towards like doing a project on one chain for a few months and going to another chain, and like, they're working on like 8 different projects. I don't find that to be interesting because like each of the teams that's building with part of the Mega Mafia, my hope is that they're building like multi-billion-dollar businesses. Like they're building generational businesses that will change your world. And that's the pitch I make them. Like, let's work together. You need to be in this for the next 5 years of your life. I am. And like, let's just win. Like, let's bring users on chain. And if they're just the kind of team which was just like deployed on Blast, they're building on Solana right now, and they're ready to come. They'll hit me up when testnet's live. I'm just not that interested because I don't have that much time. and like this is not scalable what I do,
Yeah.
right? Like I talk to each team every single week. And if I was just to start doing that too, like it just wouldn't work.
Then conversely, what's your green flag, and also how to find the competitive teams in building your MegaETH?
Yeah, I just think dog. The answer is like, do you have the dog in you? That's like the biggest green flag. Like you have a chip on your shoulder. You know, no matter what happens, it'll never be enough, right? Like you're not in it for the money. You're in it to win. And no one can actually ever win. So it's like a very horrible feedback loop of just really working super hard and like work hard, play hard.
But where do you find them?
Yeah,
Do they
I don't
come
know.
to you?
I have been like relatively lucky in the fact that like my immediate network and my like second order effect network has had a lot of brilliant builders, but I actually have done an insane amount of cold DMs.
Oh.
So yeah, before MegaETH, before our fundraise announcement went live, I would go on chain, and I would find like cracked builder devs on chain.
On chain?
On chain, like based off their like on chain credentials. And I would just like cold DM every single one, like hundreds of people on Twitter, and almost no one responded. But a few did, and one of them is building our lending market now, right? I had to literally like charm them over Twitter to convince them to take a phone call with me. And then once I got the call, it's just like dating, guys, right? Once you get the call, it was fine. So I used to do a lot of outbound. I think like I'm relatively happy with the size of the Mega Mafia now. Like we have 10, we have like another 3 coming in, hopefully. And now I think the focus will really be like working with these teams to make sure that they win. And hopefully we'll be able to attract talented builders that will pull inwards at this point, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think the questions from us, it is pretty similar in that, because there are pretty I know the MegaETH has a pretty distinctive feature and also architecture, but there are pretty much similarities in the market and very much high competitiveness, especially in the L1 and L2 chains. There are many other very contenders in the market, especially for L1 space, Monad or something like that. So I wonder what do you think is the key factor for the new chain or ecosystem to succeed in these kind of market?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think like this is a super loaded question. So I'll answer like in multiple ways. But the first thing I do want to say is I don't think any L1 will ever be as performant as MegaETH, right? And that's just as a function of consensus, right? That's like an architectural decision. The reason why, and people ask all the time, like, you know, MegaETH, what if you drop the ETH? What if you just become an L1? Like, blah, blah, blah. It's impossible for us because we don't do consensus. And that's how we're able to hit 100K TPS, right? That's how we're able to have 1 millisecond block times. Like, this is great. These are very large numbers. Or for block time, very small numbers, right? And it's just not, we don't think it's possible on the L1. So what like Solana is doing is awesome. What Monad's doing is awesome. Power to them. They're doing cool optimizations. Great battle. I think when it comes to performance, I don't think a layer 1 can be as performant as MegaETH ever, right? Anyways, I think the second part of the conversation that you asked is like, you know, what is like ecosystem development moats almost? I think there's a few. I think that like on the L1 side, I think that Chain is doing really well for a couple of reasons. I think from an architectural perspective, they have a moat of POL, proof of liquidity. I think it's a really strong DeFi use case. And then I think they have like brilliant builders, right? They have fantastic people, great vibes. They're able to inspire builders to come and build with them. And I think the POL mechanism can be very sticky, right? Like let's see it on Mainnet, but I think it's really exciting. I think that like, so that's like one type of moat, right? So it's like an economic model moat. It's very different than Ethereum, right? Like I don't think Chain and Ethereum are that competitive because like they are fundamentally trying like a really unique economic experiment on the L1, right? Now, Ethereum and I think EVM is a different story, right? Because I think moats become much more complicated there. I think one of the benefits of building with the EVM is the fact that it's very easy for people to come and build on this EVM network, like MegaETH. MegaETH is fully EVM compatible. But the issue is it's very easy to leave as well.
Right.
So I think that might be an issue that a lot of L2s currently face, right? Fucking the same app is the same app everywhere. And then that will be the same issue for L1s. But if an L1 is willing to move, like if an L1 is fully EVM compatible, it might be like more performant, but it's the same code, right? So anyone can just leave as quickly as they enter. I would say our moat is actually tech, right? It's performance. None of the apps that are building on MegaETH. I also forgot to mention to you some of my favorite consumer applications.
What is it?
We have some crazy consumer apps. We can talk about that later if you guys are interested.
We are.
So those are like every single app would break would break any other chain. Like literally would straight up break any other chain. It would just not be useful. So for us, our moat is like, we have a tech moat, so that none of these teams can build on any other chain, right? And I think we have a vibes moat in which like we're pretty chill and like we like our founders and we work very closely with our founders. We live with them.
Wow.
So we flew everyone out to Berlin in May, and we lived together in Berlin for a month. So we would work hard and we would go clubbing at night. Literally all of us. I remember we all went to, like Berlin has all these crazy clubs.
Techno.
Yeah, techno clubs. They're crazy. I went to most of them. It was wild. But we all had to go dressing up. So we went shopping as a group.
That's so cute.
And it was super cute. And we just all bought all this crazy fits. And we all went clubbing together. Like that's like a pretty strong emotional bond.
Yeah.
We're doing it again in Thailand in October.
Oh, nice.
Us and Eigen there rented 60 rooms basically in Chiang Mai for the month. And we're having the Mafia come, we're having the Eigen team come, we're coming, but we're also opening up for 50 net new builders, right,
Nice.
to come and live with us. So I think these are also different kinds of moats. But I would say like ultimately our moat is tech, right? And then hopefully by the time like tech becomes commoditized, we've plugged into network effects and we have like great vibes, great community. All of our teams work with each other. So we have a weekly call, one-on-ones, but all of the ecosystem teams have a weekly call together. So they all do checkups. They all say what their weaknesses are, what they need help with. And another team will plug in and help. Like this is a new marketing strategy I've been deploying. What do you think? Oh, let's do a cross Discord collaboration. It's really like a really tight ecosystem.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, tell me about the
Consumer
fancy
app.
the fancy app that you said before.
So this is I think this is one of my favorite applications because I love consumer a lot, and I just love like interesting experiments. Enough that I'm shilling other L1s on this podcast, right? So basically, do you guys know HQ Trivia? Have you heard of HQ Trivia?
Trivia.
HQ Trivia, yeah. So back in 2017, right? This is nothing to do with crypto. Like, you guys know the way trivia works,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, the four of us will sit down and we'll watch people play trivia on the TV, and we watch other people make money. And we're like, I know the answer to that. No, I know the answer. Ah, you're wrong. Ha ha ha. Why do we do that? Because it's actually fun, right? So like, there's an emotional attachment there. So back in 2017, 2018, this guy, nothing to do with crypto, basically built this app where he said everyone at 7 p.m. can open their phone and play a game of trivia, right? And then there's a cash prize and the winner gets a cash prize. It was tiny, like $5. The winner would get $5. No one was playing it for the money, right? They were playing it for the fun. So that's really interesting. And now that brings up the entire design space of like large coordinated games that can extract emotional value. So one of the founders I'm working with is basically building like, not just trivia, but many, many different kinds of games and making prize shows out of it, right? And why is this exciting and why is this uniquely enabled by MegaETH? Well, HQ Trivia had like 100,000 players, right? Daily players, and it came up to 2.4 million in one single game. And what's interesting here is like, well, if you were to basically put the answers on chain, it doesn't matter for $5, right? Like no one cares if we were colluding because you made $5. But what if the prize was $1 million? Well, then I want to make sure that you won fairly. I want to make sure you're not Namik's cousin, right? Well, what kind of execution environment can handle all of that data? None. And it's interesting because the data on its own is not valuable because what is this data set going to show? That you lost. Statistically speaking, it's just like correct, wrong, and then that's it. But at scale, on aggregate, when you have like 100,000 of these players putting their information, it's going to show the path tree to one person being correct or a few people winning. And that winner might be making like $100,000 or some crazy number, right? We've built some interesting models. You guys will learn more about it like when Mainnet goes live. And that's like really interesting because like that's like net new economics that are empowered by like the aggregation slash like large amount of like data that's not that valuable on its own, but at scale it is valuable and it's like, really cool. And it is very similar to what Sriram from Eigenlayer wrote with like the verifiable cloud thesis. And MegaETH plus EigenDA makes that a reality, where we can start to put information on chain that does not have intrinsic economic value. And that creates net new applications and net new models. So yeah, I mean, that's one of the applications I'm also excited about that's building on MegaETH.
Yeah. And actually, I was also wondered that I know that MegaETH has a pretty much superiority in their technical side and tech mode, is that? And I'm not sure this is a valid question, but yeah, is there any possibility that the tech stack of the MegaETH can be distributed to other chains or to similar to the OP stack style? They can build chains with their stacks. Or is this possible or considering?
Yeah, I mean, I think like it's a great question. The honest answer is right now we're focused on building like a global state machine, right? To borrow the language from Solana. I think that like we as the Ethereum roadmap have too much fragmentation. So until we get to a point where we're like maxing out a mega rollup, like MegaETH, like our chain, I think bringing multiple MegaETHs to the market is unnecessary, right? I mean, who knows what happens in the future, but I think like we're much more interested in like a global state machine like approach. And I think that's the power of atomic composability. And I think we've like forgotten why that's so powerful on the Ethereum roadmap. It's like the cosmosification of Ethereum. So we're trying to like swing the pendulum back towards a almost more monolithic approach to scaling. Even though we're modular.
Yeah, I think, as you said before, I think the sentiment around Ethereum is quite bottom low, I guess.
Yeah,
in the market. Yeah.
Every day on Twitter, like I go and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, like what is going on?
I have a quick question. What does MegaETH, like the mega, stand for? I heard it was make Ethereum great again. Is it true?
I mean, I think we will make Ethereum great again.
And is it true? Is it?
I mean, mega.
Yeah.
I mean, someone's gotta.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Yeah, just a quick question too. And why you don't choose just mega? Because your MegaETH. Why?
Yeah, I mean, I think like.
It's repetitive.
I mean, I don't know. I think that like a lot of people ask. I mean, so it's a funny story, right? Like when Shriya first saw this white paper, when she was introduced, it was like, the title was like MegaETH, the road to 1 million TPS, by like this Chinese team, like such a scam, right? Like, what are you saying? Obviously, this is a scam. But it really grows on you. Like the name MegaETH really grows on you. So I think like the thesis is like mega is also a way to describe like a net function improvement in performance. So like we are making like a mega version of Ethereum. And then somewhere someone said mega is make Ethereum great again. And like I think mega means like to the power of 6 or something, right? I don't know. Yeah?
Yeah, that's right.
So that's like the actual reason. Like that's like MegaETH, like mega to the power of 6. Like just make it way more performant. And then someone somewhere is like mega, make Ethereum great again. And we're like, you know what? Let's just go with it. It's just funny. And like it's a bit mimetic.
It's a fun meme.
It's a great meme. Did you see our hats? We made some crazy hats.
Do you have it with you?
We do. I should have brought I have like the MegaETH hats, the cool ones, which are like the MegaDef logo. The Make Ethereum Great Again hats, I only have them like hidden in London because I was in New York before this, and I was like, I'm not going to bring that to New York because I will be killed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good choice.
At least beat up.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Definitely would not end well.
If you have a superpower and can build anything on MegaETH, what would it be?
Okay, so this answer has changed a bunch. I think that so what I do is a lot of the ideas I come up with, I try and find someone to build them, right? So Who knows? Maybe it'll exist. Initially, I was really fascinated with like streaming markets, right? So like imagine betting on like reality TV shows, like bet on like Love Island. I think that's really interesting conceptually to me. I've recently been fascinated with like IP, right? IP. Yeah, I know you guys had Story Protocol on.
Yeah, actually,
recently.
the founder came to our.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I think I don't know if this is like similar to what Story Protocol builds, but like there's a couple interesting data points that I've seen in the market over like because with the rise of AI basically, the cost of content generation has gone to zero, right? So like, that's like the UGC thesis that I'm sure Story Protocol described. I do think there's like a really unique opportunity. Do you guys remember Loot?
Oh yeah.
Loot from last cycle, the NFT collection with just a bunch of like
Letters.
assets. Yeah, it was like the sword with the golden pickaxe, right? Or like
Good times.
the robe with the I mean that was like at one point anyone who minted that thing got a $50,000 gold airdrop. Bam. So I was a big fan of Loot from a conceptual perspective, and I think like there's a unique opportunity to build like bottom up UGC of these kinds of stories. And like you leverage all of these different NFTs as like assets, which will get like revenue from the episodes which use them in the stories. So the way I've I mean, I don't fully understand Story Protocol. I think I knew them before they became a chain, and now I'm less sure what exactly is going on. But like my understanding for Story Protocol is like almost like a top-down approach towards like let's make sure that the people of this IP can really realize the profit of UGC that's made with their IP, right? Which is really cool. I am conceptually interested in like bottom up, right? Like let's create like a net set of like assets and allow people to build stories using those assets, and then do like rev shares with the asset holders and those stories. And I think like the reason this is really exciting to me is because of this white paper I read called The Simulation, where you had effectively a bunch of AI agents create a story out of a South Park episode with just a prompt and a choice of casts and location. And it made like a 25-minute episode just like that. So I mean, I think that's pretty cool. And then I would like love to see what Story Protocol does in that design space. It's something that I'm really interested in. I know like, there's like a lot of noise, I think, of IP, but I think there's something really interesting there for me. I love content. Like I watch TV. I even watch like AI generated TV shows sometimes. So
Really?
Like for example, I love Naruto. As a kid, I'd watch Naruto, and I keep seeing these reels on like TikTok of like people using AI to change the words that Naruto says. And like I find that to be fascinating. And I Google and there's like hundreds of thousands of people watching this. Like there's like intrinsic PMF here.
Wow.
So I would say like in 5-6 years, if like once MegaETH is like really healthy and solid, if Story Protocol didn't build this, maybe I just described Story Protocol. Did I just show Story Protocol?
Yeah.
It's like one-to-one what they're
A
building.
little bit.
Yeah, I would say.
Stop talking about them.
Did I just keep talking about other L1s? I guess I just
Talk about MegaETH.
I mean, I guess I just love everybody.
Yeah.
It's TLDR. I think like what they're building is pretty cool.
Great energy.
Yeah. Wait, so is that actually what Story Protocol is building? Like, what does the chain do?
Okay, watch our last video.
Okay. Can we get a TLDR for the listeners?
I mean, this is for you. This episode is for you.
Yeah.
So.
The answer is no one really knows. It's a chain. It's a blockchain.
Then is there any strategic priority on the apps or in your MegaETH, or is it just a personal preference, or do you have a specific target for the builder?
Yeah, I mean, it's vibes based. It's ultimately vibes based. I would say that like we love DeFi. I think we're maybe looking for like one more DeFi team, but way more interesting like the consumer vertical, right? So like, what are those like verifiable cloud applications where on aggregate like when we are able to bring information on chain that is like literally like worthless information, what kind of new experiences can we build? So I would say like that would be like the call to the CTA to any listeners, right? I think that's like going to be the design space that brings in new users to MegaETH, not just MegaETH, to crypto, to be honest. I don't think it's going to be like a new version of the DeFi. I don't think it's going to be RWAs. I think it's going to be emotional to value, right? Like you need to be able to create like an emotional attachment. And like I think that's what people are driven by. Like the vast majority of people are driven by emotions. So yeah, I guess it's like vibes based. Like you have to have the dog in you for sure. Like, that is like priority number one.
I get it. I think the consumer app is also very interesting, and also I'm a fan of the sector itself. But yeah, I think the name of the consumer itself is pretty much vague, I guess, and I want to see much more experiment and also the new apps coming here. But yeah.
Yeah. Did you say it's mostly on base? Is that what you said?
Vague.
Oh, it's vague. Yeah, I agree.
Bit, yeah.
It's hard. I wasn't the biggest fan of Friend Tech, just because I felt like it was like too financialized. I'm interested in like non-financialized crypto. Like one of the people that I'm working with, she's basically building like a dating show, right? And it's called like Crypto Soulmates. And it's like, yeah, she had like an iteration of it in Brussels, and it was like it was super cool. And the dream use case here is like using the blockchain as a knowledge graph, right? If you can basically have all of your activity represented on a blockchain, right? And I don't mean like just like what kind of coins I buy, but my preferences, right? And if you can use like web proofs and zk-TLS to aggregate like my information of how I behave on the internet, right? And then like I can get like another person's information, and you can have like this matchmaking almost of saying, hey, like, you know, you guys are actually very compatible. That's like very interesting, right?
That's
Like,
so all the airdrop hunters are gonna date themselves.
yeah, all the
Everyone
airdrop hunters,
addicted
like,
to
Yeah.
dopamine.
dude, I also farm scroll. What? That's hilarious. Yeah, and I don't think Scroll had too many farmers. Like they did a pretty good job of that. Yeah, but I mean, I would definitely. I think that's like cool, and I think it's like
Yeah.
non-financialized. Like that's like knowledge graphs are really powerful.
And it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. Exactly.
It's
Like make
emotional.
crypto fun again.
If you were to use that app,
Sure.
who do you think you're gonna match with?
I don't think I'm just not compatible with anybody.
Is your
I'm
wallet
just gonna be
public?
like the edge case, like error, like does not work. I don't know.
Is your wallet public?
No,
Your
so this is
address. Oh, okay.
So this is my issue is like when because it's very early days, right? So like she does there's like no match, like she does it herself, and she's like, okay, like let me see your like send me your wallets, and like I'll figure it out. But like that's not like I'm not interested in this. I am much more interested in like, okay, if we can use web proofs to get this information from all these other places that are not financialized at all, then like I'm very interested to see what the outcome can be, and that's like a long-term goal that you go towards. Yeah, but I mean like unfortunately right now I think like I have like 100 wallets, and they're all just like trading coins and like buying like random meme coins, which I'm not going to talk about on the call on this podcast. And it's just like I don't think that it's all noise. Like none of that matters. Like yeah, it matters because you can make money, right? But like it's not emotional. It's not fun.
So no meme coins on MegaETH.
No, I mean I love meme coins, right? Like I love meme coins. I'm super down. I think there's all kinds of funny meme coins someone could create, right? Like mini, that'd be pretty funny. Right? Like I think that's a banger. I think that's
Micro.
Micro, yeah. Jesus Christ. Yeah, like that's savage.
What's your favorite app outside of MegaETH that you want to, you hope to, onboard on?
So our thesis is very much like I don't want any application that can exist anywhere else. So a lot of people are like, oh, I wish I can get Aave or Maker or Uniswap. I'm not that interested. I think like they're great products. They're built for certain execution environments, like, and they're not optimized for MegaETH. So I am just not that interested.
How about just pick an app, your favorite app outside of blockchain? Imagine you onboard that onto MegaETH. What would that be?
So I think my answer is either going to be like Reddit or Telegram. Right? So, I mean, this is like the most intimate podcast I've ever been on. It's really lovely. Yeah, so I would say like Reddit is, I really love Reddit. I just think it's like such a great collective source of information, right? And I just like, I love it. I use it every day. I don't use Google. I ask questions to Reddit because it's like a real person that's giving me their opinion. I appreciate that. And I think there's like a massive use case for like building like a Telegram or a Signal on MegaETH. Like this is like I think the first execution environment that's like actually sufficiently performant to have that information on chain. But still, I think even that like might be too early. Like I think to build something like that, MegaETH needs to be on Mainnet for a while. People need to figure out all the edge cases, figure out how to like encrypt privacy into this game. Like that's like not the kind of project that I'm looking for someone to build right now, because I'm very well aware of the fact that like it needs time. So yeah, I like Reddit a lot though.
I think it totally makes sense that the scalability of MegaETH can be utilized by the consumer apps, especially because most of financial apps doesn't require that much, I don't know, frequent transaction. For most
Just
of the
one
users,
time.
just a single time in almost a week or so day
Yeah.
would be enough. And just going back to your answer, and also I wonder what kind of apps that if we make a replica of the Reddit or Telegram on MegaETH or anything else in later, what will be different from the current Reddit or Telegram? What's the feature that only the
why
crypto,
blockchain?
Yeah, I mean, guys, you just asked me what's my favorite application. So I just answered it. I like Reddit a lot.
Yeah.
I think the power of Reddit is, I mean, they tried this, right? Like they did like a token thing in the past where they were using tokens to help self-govern forms. I think that makes total sense. I think tokens as a governance mechanism works. I think like there's argument. Oh yeah, we have another team that's building on MegaETH. They're building an events business. I want to give them a quick shout out. Imagine like Luma, but fully on chain. And you can do really interesting things. Like, what's the biggest issue in crypto events? Everyone signs up to every event.
Yeah.
I'm signed up for like 6 tonight. I can only go to 1 if I even go to it. I might just go home and sleep. Right? And this is, what was I saying? Yeah, so that sucks because no one actually shows up, and like you need to price that in. Well, what if like I check in and I already start earning tokens, right? And then when I leave, if I leave early, I only earn tokens for the amount of time I'm there. I'm actually pricing time, right? Like presence, proof of attendance, right? And then you have these tokens that you earn from going to events, and then how do you get into an event? You have to stake your tokens. So yes, I'm staking 100 tokens that I will show up. If I don't show up, I get slashed. So like that's really interesting to me because you're using like crypto to actually create net better user behaviors, right? And I think that's the power of crypto. So for the Reddit use case, like I would say like a governance-like mechanism, and you can see that also manifest on this events business. And what I find interesting about this events business is like once you can create like a pretty like a legitimate graph of like, hey, if I stake my coin saying I'm going to show up to this event, I'm probably going to show up to this event, then you can build like applications on top of that, right? Like imagine if you could have a Tinder for networking, where like I've put all the events I'm going to go to, and you guys have put all the events that you're going to go to, and because you've all staked, we kind of feel relatively comfortable that you'll actually show up to these events. So then you create like an app in which like I swipe, I'm like, okay, I want to talk to you, I don't want to talk to you, and then like you go in and you're like, okay, these are 15 people that have like double opt-in for us to chat, and I can just go and meet them here. I think that's really interesting, and that's only possible when we stop thinking about stuff and like, okay, how much am I going to sell this coin for? And you just actually use like tokens for like non-financialized use cases. So I mean that's inspiring to me, and I think that's where I think like MegaETH will create a renaissance for crypto.
Yeah.
Because like applications like this will not be possible.
It's really interesting.
Yeah. So you're pretty much going to every crypto events, building, managing the company. How's your life? Like,
So
how
I'm
are
not
you?
building this. Someone else is building this.
No.
I mean, like, as
Like,
like,
how are you
we call
handling-
ourselves like builders, right? So, how are you handling all that? All
Like
the
how
work?
is life?
Yeah, how's
Yeah,
life?
no, like genuinely, how are you doing?
Oh, how am I doing?
Yeah.
I would say I'm doing pretty well. I love what I do.
How do you find? Sorry, I'm sorry for kidding. Yeah, just go on.
No, I mean, that's all I was going to say. Like, I think I'm genuinely grateful to be able to be in an industry where like I love every moment of it. I wake up like 4 times a night, which is not good. That's just how I am.
Because you're
And then-
excited?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't sleep well in general. So I naturally wake up multiple times a night. But with crypto, like I'll check my phone and this industry is open 24 hours. So I'll have messages and then I'll start like sending people messages like 3 a.m., 5 a.m., 1 p.m. It's kind of hilarious. But other than that, I think like, yeah, life is great. I really love the industry I'm in. And I think like I'm really happy to be able to like be deeply inspired. Like I used to like, I went to like a business school for undergrad. And
Stern.
all
It's
of
just
my
not.
all of my friends are like banking, right? And I'm so grateful that I'm doing something I think will make the world better. Like I truly believe this. So yeah, what was your question?
Yeah, I think there was a question similar to this one. Yeah.
Is this your first entrepreneurship or?
Yeah.
So I mean, I've worked on like early stage things in the past, but I mean, this is definitely like the most real it's ever gotten for me. Yeah, but I would say one issue of crypto is like we have too many conferences now.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what you're referring
It's
to.
exhausting.
Totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah,
There
it's
are
ridiculous.
300 side events right now.
Yeah, like that's like we don't need 300 side events.
I know.
Like really, we don't. There's like 400 people.
Yeah.
Like what's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you tell me only one thing that you like in conferences or just events or?
So what I like about conferences, I usually like meet like 1 or 2 new people that I actually like, and I'm like, okay, like I've made a new friend, and I think that's very rare, and that's like very cool because, yeah. I would say like I'm not as big of a like I think a lot of people think of it like, oh, I get to go to conference because I get to go to a new country and I get to travel. I don't know who has the time to be like checking out monuments. Like I literally, unfortunately, just do not do that. So for me, it's much more a function of like, okay, I will probably make a new close friend from this conference, or I will deepen an existing friendship. So I would say that's one of the benefits of conferences. I don't know if that was like the correct answer. Maybe the correct answer is like, oh, I got to meet like the local market. We're building something cool.
You don't have a correct answer.
Yeah. That's like the personal
Yeah.
answer, I guess.
Are we considered the new
Best friends.
Best friend.
Best friends, yeah.
We should hang out later.
I'm down.
We should go clubbing.
We should go clubbing.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to this abstract event. Are you guys in?
Oh.
Yeah. I'm abstract Korea lead.
Yeah, okay, dude, let's do it.
let's go.
I was just texting with Beans.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's
Nice.
like a good friend. Like he was like a friend I made when I was in Korea this winter. And then I'm really happy about it. Like he's awesome.
Yeah,
So
Beans
we're
and Cypher,
best
they're
friends
like,
now.
We're transitive property. We have to be.
I think let's just getting back to the conversation to the round. Sorry for interrupting. Yeah,
That's great.
Yeah, I think we are almost going to the last questions right now, and our time is about to go. And I wonder that what do you envision through the MegaETH success for the next phase because they are going to launch some testnet and also mainnet soon, and also I wonder what is the next vision of after the launch of the mainnet and also some years past.
Sure. So the goal is for testnet to be in the next couple months, so very soon, and then we are aiming to have mainnet in the beginning of the year. So we're really excited. Honestly, like I'm really, really excited to see if these apps work, right? Like to iterate because we have like really smart teams, but like this testnet will be an opportunity for us to like push back almost and like really iterate and make these just better products, which I'm really excited about. I would say for me, MegaETH being a success is like us onboarding like net new users who don't care about becoming rich. Because I think that's the issue of crypto. Like everyone's in crypto to just get rich, and we will never become bigger if we aren't here to just get rich, right? And I think like the use cases I described to you today are all examples of you're not doing it to make money. Yes, maybe you can make money somehow, but like you're just leveraging the power of like the blockchain and like peer-to-peer networks to like do cool things that are interesting. And like that would be like so deeply, deeply gratifying for me. I'd probably cry if I saw these things actually happen, I swear. So yeah, I would say that's a success. I would say mainnet, like immediately after mainnet, like we need to make sure DeFi works well. We need to make sure our consumer applications are bangers. Like we need to have something go viral, all of this stuff. But I would say like in the long horizon, that'd be like a win condition for me. And then I can like chill. If we can do that, then I'm like, okay, I'm happy.
And sleep better.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably that's never gonna happen. Is my assumption. I think like I'm actually a small portion of the population where like if I sleep a lot of hours, my head hurts. Like I cannot sleep more than like 7 hours a night because then like I just like get massive bags under my eyes and like my head's super foggy. So I don't know if that I'll ever start like long sleeps unless I like drink wine every night. I don't know. But
We are very
be
different
fun.
people.
I mean, sometimes I sleep in, but I still wake up every night a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
think-
can I ask one question?
Yeah.
Because I want to.
Unlimited question.
Are you
Sorry.
going to do the?
Because every like good figure I see, I want to know about their biggest challenge during the entrepreneur journey. So what would it be for you?
I think for us, it's like really figuring out our voice for MegaETH, right? Like real-time blockchain. What does that even mean, right? I mean, I know what it means, but like it's a new word. Like, how do you define it? What is our relationship with Ethereum, right? Like we love Ethereum. Like I'm an ETH maxi, like proudly. But for a net new user, that's kind of confusing terminology, right? So I would say our biggest problem has just been like, at least for me at least, is like really understanding how to, describe the vision and why what we're building is like not just a trade, right? Explain that we're not here to just like build like another like L2 or like another L1, right?
Yeah.
We're here to empower those use cases. And if those don't happen, then we failed. Like for me, that's literally like this success or not success, because I really think we're running out of time as an industry, right? Like all the youngest, brightest guys I know are all in AI. And they think AI will become that crypto moment that we fought back in 2021, right? And maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong, but I think that there's a really large brain drain. And I think I don't think we have too many more. Like it's like the cat that has 9 lives, right? Like crypto is a cat. I think we're at life 8. I don't think we have like many more lives to go. So we really need to crack this or we're done. Bitcoin, I think, has hit escape velocity, but that's downside protection, right? Why do people buy Bitcoin? Because the world's going to end. Because the US is the US dollar is the global reserve currency, and they're printing like crazy, right? Because France did a petro deal denominated in RMB last year, and that threatens the petro state. Like these are the reasons you buy Bitcoin, because you think the world is going to collapse and you want to be hedged. Great. But you don't do it because you don't do it because you see unlimited like creative upside. There isn't a creative garden associated with the Bitcoin thesis. But that is why Ethereum exists, right? Ethereum is meant to be an infinite garden. And I think we're running out of time to build the infinite garden. And I think MegaETH, like, for us, a success is building the infinite garden. Or like, enabling people to build the infinite garden. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I'm done, Jake. Pellegrini, I'm done.
I'm sorry for interrupting.
Because
He
he doesn't like that question. So,
I
but I
know.
want to ask.
I think it's a great question.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I really love your answer.
Appreciate
I
it.
apologize. Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Don't even.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it for today, I guess.
I had so much fun.
I
Yeah.
love this. This is my favorite podcast I've ever done.
Yay.
Yeah.
We're best friends now.
We're best friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Transitive property, that's how it works.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
thanks for coming in.
Totally. Yeah.
We can go clubbing now.
Yeah, I'll see you guys in a couple hours. Yeah. Okay. Bye.